Good morning. This is the Blaine's World webcast that can be found each week on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also listen in on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You get more information, listen to previous shows at our website, which is right behind me, www.blainesworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield. I'm here in my Zoom studio in Fairview, North Carolina. You'll have to excuse the bruises. I fall the other day, but I'm doing better than ever. And each week, I should tell you that we focus on positive news and information about people and organizations in both Western North Carolina and throughout the country. And toward that end, it's my pleasure to introduce Aimee Aiken, Community Relations Advisor at Express Employment Professionals. Aimee, you can feel free to wave to all your fans and friends who are watching
Hello,
this.
everyone.
Okay, that is Aimee. I should mention that Aimee and her family have found a home in Canton, North Carolina, after moving from Johnson City, Tennessee, where she and her husband attended Eastern Tennessee State University. She also served a 3-year term at Haywood Community College as vice president of the school's foundation board. Her experience with higher education has opened up other opportunities at Blue Ridge Community College and AB Tech, connecting local businesses with talent graduation in our community. And so the first question I always ask for the first time when I meet somebody is, as a child, you grew up where?
Grew up in Athens, Tennessee.
Okay. And did you know as a child growing up in Athens, Tennessee, a young woman, that you always wanted to be with an employment agency type thing?
Isn't that funny? No, I always would look up at the stars and say, I want to be a business owner.
Yeah. Did you?
Don't want to be a business owner, but I'm
Oh,
perfectly happy working for Express.
no. Did you know what you wanted to be as a child?
Oh, no. I just knew that I really enjoyed people.
Okay. And I guess that's what you're doing now
That's
in
what I'm
terms of.
doing now.
So talk about then how it transitioned then from you went to school and you were
Mhm.
doing some other kinds of things. How did it transition to your present position?
Oh man, opportunity of a lifetime. It was definitely, um, it was meant to be. That's a great way to put it. My husband and I were both in higher education. We both went to college at ETSU. He ended up getting a professional position there with the college, with their, surprisingly enough, advancement services. And so when that became a big part of our life about advancement and students becoming more and the foundation and learning all of these things about higher education really kind of instilled in me a love for learning more and giving that opportunity to other people. We came from a small town where community colleges were not impressed upon as much, and the skills that you would learn from them were not as highly mm, given as high of achievement as what a 4-year college would be, where we have found personally that community colleges has provided more skilled labor and skilled workforce. And so I always said to myself when I became a part of the board for the foundation with Haywood Community College that I would make a difference in my community by really promoting that from within. So when I first started with Express, we got the opportunity to really connect the community in a way that we hadn't necessarily had a lot of in Haywood County. And so the connection between a staffing agency and the ability to be seen, these students that were staying in and around the area, they need to be seen in the Asheville area where our manufacturing are. And we're just really proud of the small businesses that have taken on these students, and we are here to kind of make those connections.
And as you talk about it, I'm so glad you mentioned that because my
Yes.
background, which you don't know, but I spent most of my adult life teaching at a community college. And like you, I was also on the foundation board as well. And it was like still a secret, and more so out here than it was when I was in Pennsylvania. But a lot of people don't realize, I just had an earlier interview, as you heard, with AB Tech, what a great job they do. And, so thank you for sharing your background. I could relate to it as well. And so when you came out to then Asheville, you got hired by the firm, and your job was to do what?
I am the community relations advisor. I was originally, as as most of us at Express Employment Professionals are hired to do, we start with recruitment. Everyone starts with recruiting. We have to earn a love of recruiting, and we have to earn an understanding to build our foundation of why we do what we do. And that has really instilled upon us a love and respect of working with people, because people are a commodity that you cannot control.
Right.
And it's a tough commodity to work with sometimes. So you have to build that appreciation. Once we have that foundation of recruiting, it truly has been my entire team's kind of love and this growth of, we were all in a position at one point in time of the, what are we going to do when we grow up? And this has been a fantastic bridge. Most of us, I don't know if this was highlighted, but most of the employees at Express Professionals have backgrounds that are not recruiting or not HR necessarily. Our owner, absolutely. But the heart and kind of the soul of Express Employment Professionals of Asheville is that we are true people who have worked, lived this life of, we need help. We needed someone to connect us into a community. Most of us are transplants or not from here. So it was very, very much an opportunity for Express Employment Professionals to be our advocate, to introduce us to the Asheville community. And that is where we strive.
And let me have you back up just a little bit, because when you talk about recruiting, one of the things you do, and we were talking about this off the air, is I guess you're recruiting in two areas. So you're recruiting, I guess, for, that was interesting what you said, that everybody has to have some experience, but the experience is getting people to sign up with you folks, that you'll help them get jobs. And I guess you're also helping employers, you're recruiting them to match up with the people you get. Is that a true statement?
Yes, so we are always looking for someone, kind of three areas when it comes to a job applicant. That's the term we use, a job, someone who is seeking, or a job seeker, if you will. So anyone who is fresh out of high school, fresh out of college, they're looking for that first job or that first maybe career move. We're looking for those candidates. We are looking for anyone who has been in business for a while. Maybe they've been in office services, maybe they've been in manufacturing, and they want to make that career change or that next career advancement. We work with C-suite professionals who are coming into the Asheville area. As you know, everyone is flooding to Asheville. So we take that opportunity to help make the connection within the community at maybe businesses that wouldn't necessarily have a job opening, but they are the perfect fit for that culture. That's where we come in. We are a helping hand.
Let's talk about the two parts of your business then. So that the first part, you mentioned that you're working with high school graduates, college graduates, community college graduates, helping them get employment. Um, when should they see you, or should they be looking for a job on their own, or should they be looking for a job at the same time they're working with you? Or
Great
how does the
question.
process work?
Yeah. For the most part, Blaine, most of us have had at least our first job by the time we're 16, 18,
Right.
17, 18, where we've got our new set of wheels, we've got our new goals and dreams to go. We are looking for those people in between the ages of 18 plus. They have to be 18 to start working with us, but we have opportunities starting as young as 18, whether it be skilled trades, customer service.
So one of the nice things, it seems to me, it's almost like a one-stop shopping thing. In other words, that if I was a recent graduate of high school or community college, I could be searching on my own. But if I came to you, you've already done the searching for me, and you have, rather than just one job at a time,
Mhm.
you have access to 20 jobs at a time. So I
Correct.
guess it makes it easier for the job seeker. If,
Correct.
if you,
So it is a one-stop. I like the way you put that, a one-stop shop. Yes. So the idea is that we provide the assistance. There's a terminology that we use in our company called key holders. If you think back to your first job, usually it is somehow in relation to someone that you knew that helped to
Right.
get you to your job. We've all had experiences like that, and we like to consider ourselves these key holders. We are considered a key holder to your future in the Asheville or Western North Carolina area.
I imagine another thing you do for folks and would be very helpful is the fact that, especially if you're working with a recent graduate,
Mhm.
um, people learn lots of skills, but they never really learn how to get a job or find a job. When you think about
Correct.
it, the and they never, even though it's maybe Q basic or me basic, um, I never took a course in interviewing skills or
Mm.
going for the first job. And do you find that a lot of people have no idea what they're supposed to do?
I do find that really, Express Employment Professionals International, we are an international company, and they have done a fantastic job in giving the franchisees, the different small offices across the United States, they have given us truly the tools and resources to help all individuals, all walks of life. So we have programs that they can start online, almost like mini colleges, mini training sessions. We do interactions with interviewing skills and with resume building.
Again, these are skills that, not unfortunately, but realistically, a lot of people never had or never picked up on
Correct.
their own.
Interactions, soft people skills.
Yeah, and they are, but it's funny because those are skills that aren't taught in school, which is kind of a shame. So
Correct.
they work with you, and what then happens? You speak with them, you look at several job possibilities, you build up their skills, and then you send them out to go for jobs, or what happens then?
Great question. So first off, we kind of have to get um our ducks in a row, if you will, by first speaking to the candidates. And we pretty much go through a formal interview with them. And basically, we talk to them about what they want. That ends up being a great question to start with. They start by telling us what they're looking for, their pay, their schedule, what their skill set is. And then we work and really work as professional matchmakers.
Great line. Do you teach them about a follow-up? You know,
Well, follow up. Tell me more what you mean by that.
well, I'm thinking like it's a shame because I used to work with students, helping them get jobs, and nobody ever heard of the idea that it's a nice thing to send a thank you note, after your interview, it's foreign to people, but is that something you encourage people to do?
We do always encourage thank you notes. Absolutely.
Yeah, just a simple thing to just do that or keep in touch. Let me
Oh,
ask you another
absolutely.
question too.
Sure.
After somebody comes on board, they have their first interview. In other words, do you
Mhm.
send them on a couple of interviews or just one at a time? How does that work?
Great question. So when we first find candidates and they say, okay, I'm interested in A. This
Right.
this is what I'm used to doing. I am a welder. Let's just say welder. I have the skill set of being a welder. This is the schedule I want. This is the pay that I want. And this is kind of the location I want to be in. I don't want to travel more than 30 minutes. Okay, well, for Asheville, that's a challenge because 30 minutes can
Right.
be 5 miles away or it can be 15 miles away, depending on location. So we talk to them a lot about that piece first. Then we talk to them about the jobs we do have available and see if there is a match. If the match, we jokingly call ourselves professional matchmakers for a reason. We say you don't want us to match you based on love, but we do match you based on skill set with the client's skill set and what the need is. And so when we match you, we are looking for those types of details. We want to make sure that the client or the business is within the commute range that's given. So we kind of do the guesswork. We take the guesswork out of it. So even though they may have found a welding position that was on our website or on our job board, it may not be in the right location. So that's where the conversation comes involved. And then if we have the job that matches for them exactly, that's ready to go, that was the same post, then we will go ahead and present that candidate to the client. We will give them tips and tricks. We will talk to them about the supervisor that they will potentially get to meet. We'll kind of give them the details, a little bit more of the insight or even the culture. We'll share with them. And then if it is not an automatic match, what we'll do is we will look into our system to see what companies that we have placed with that type of skill set before. It truly is a great database that we have, and it makes the match for us. It will give us some suggestions of companies from the profile that they could be matched to. And then we'll make those calls on their behalf, even though there may not be a job available. We will make that call and try to start that conversation on their behalf.
And an advantage to working with you, which I'm hearing, is that these are things that on your own employee wouldn't have access to. In other words, they just go blind. Unfortunately, a lot of times they just go blind into a job. They just see it advertised or hear about it. So you've done a lot of the grunt work for them. How often do you tell a candidate after they've gone for an interview, how often should they follow up on it? Or talk about the follow-up process. Do you do that for
Ooh.
them, or do they do that?
Great question. So, with the follow up process, we actually have kind of a set. We actually ask them after an interview is done to give us a call, let us know their thoughts and feelings because they may not have a good thought or feeling once they get there. We want to be open to that. And then we do the same thing for the client. We ask the client, hey, what did you think of the interview? How is it going? And they have a commitment to us that they respond to us usually within a 24-hour period, especially depending on weekends and if it's a Friday, of course. So business hours, 24 business hours. And so we do our best to match that for the job seeker. Whenever we find out, we try to let them know just as fast. So that way we can make that match as soon as we hear from both parties.
Must be exciting for you when you do have the perfect match. When the person goes for the interview and the company and it just hits, that must really be fun when that happens, isn't it?
It is. It is. It definitely brings smiles to all of our faces. We stand up and say, "Woohoo! We got it! We got one!"
And talk about the process too, which for the job seeker or the person looking for the job. One of the nice things about working with you folks is there's no charge for this. Is that correct?
That's correct. There is absolutely no charge. What we do is we actually work as more of a payroll service to the employer themselves. So the employer will reach out to us and say, "Hey, Amy, I need an office manager." Okay, we can do that for you. So we will take on that position. We will do all the recruiting for that position. We will do the job posting. We will get all the details. And then we will connect the employer with potential pre-qualified candidates that meet what they request. Where we are a little bit different is that we add a little bit more about the candidate themselves. We tell them what their interests are. We tell them how they're a good fit to their culture. Maybe the company is a vegan company. Well, we've got a vegan office owner, office manager with experience. So sometimes it's about personality. Sometimes it's about life choices. It just depends on what the company is looking for. But at the end of the day, we are a payroll service to that employer to where they only thing they have to do is sign off on the time cards and make the payment on their invoice.
What's exciting about this, from what I hear, is I'm trying to think when I was 18, 17, whatever, and even way beyond that, I never had anybody do this kind of stuff for me.
Mm,
Again, I had to do it all myself, and I can find stuff pretty well, but some people just never had that skill or never learned how to seek out this information. And so again, almost back to soup to nuts approach, you do it all for them, for the
we do.
employee.
So we have a great history, Blaine. We are a local family owned business, and that's sometimes hard to find in this busy world. Everyone's over corporate, but our office began its operations back in 2007. And since then, we have just been growing our community. We've been growing our connections. We have over 500 companies that we work with just in Western North Carolina. That can go as far as Hendersonville, edge of Flat Rock there, and we go all the way over almost to the Tennessee line in Haywood County, and then we go up all the way into Marshall and as far over as Marion. So that gives you a kind of area. That's a large area of Western North Carolina that we staff for. So we like to consider ourselves professional matchmakers because when either clients or job seekers come to us, we truly make it an effort. And if you think of the word matchmaker and love, you have to take time to meet those two individuals to actually make sure there's going to be a connection. Make sure that they are based on, in our case, that they're matched on their not only their skill, but also the culture and the feel.
Amy, let's talk about then the other side of the coin, because we've been talking mostly about the graduates or the people coming to
Mm-hmm.
work. But part of what you do, you said over 500 companies out there that
Mm-hmm.
you help and represent. Talk about your role with them. So in other words, if I'm an employer listening who has never worked with you before, what do? I go to the website, I give you a call. How do I hook in with you?
Fantastic question. You can do any of the following. Most of the time, you will see us at any of the chamber events. So if you are a chamber event, come over and say hi to myself or Christy Kay, our outside business guru. But for me, my community relations advisor, I am almost the in between. So I work with the recruitment end of both. Of the candidates, the job seekers, but then I'm also our quality connector when it comes to our businesses. So if businesses are interested in working with us, they simply have to reach out to our office by calling the phone number. I'm sure we'll give that at the end. They can reach out by our email address, or truly it's just meeting up with one of us, like I said, out in the community. We'll probably see you at the next event.
And since you mentioned it, so we don't forget it, we'll mention it again. But if folks want to find out about you, if you would give the website and maybe the phone number.
Sure. So the website's very easy. It's Express, like the name of our company, pros, like professionals with an S.com. So Express, PROS.com.
And so folks go there, what will they find?
They are actually going to find the website of our national company. It's a really cool website. You can actually look for any job anywhere in the United States and internationally. But the cool part about our website is that you can actually go job seekers, job clients or businesses, and you can read the reviews and read how we work and the why. We have a great story. Our great founders in Oklahoma City, they started by two best friends who just wanted to save their community when their mill closed. And that is how they use the chamber. It's a fantastic story and it lives in the hearts, and it's very near and dear to us here in Canton who just
But
went through this.
I was just going to say that, but unfortunately, I guess it's good for the job seekers. I mean, all of a sudden you had a bunch of job seekers would be interested in coming on board, but I guess you try and match them up with employers. And so you've been a little busy since the
Oh,
closing.
yes. Oh, yes. Very busy. I
So
think they said 1,200 people were out of work.
really, and a bunch of them came to see you.
They did.
Yeah. So back to the employer part of it. So they check the website and it
Mhm.
tells services what you do.
Yep.
And then what happens? One of your folks meet with them, or how does that move to the next
You,
step?
yes. So the first step, again, it all starts with a conversation. We ask if we can get them on the phone, and then we ask to come to the business itself. The reason we do that is for a couple of of reasons. One, we want to make sure that we understand the layout of the business and the place where our employees are going to be. We want to make sure that we are responsible employers and making sure that we are giving accurate representation of the job itself. So therefore, we've put eyes on it, we've touched it, we've also checking the safety of it. We have a commitment to our associates to be safe and our employers, because we are taking on the workers' comp for them on their behalf. Again, we are that full staffing service for them. We take on all of those risks. We take on the headaches of the insurance purposes, and we can make sure everything is streamlined. We do a safety tour on their behalf. We talk about different things. If it's a manufacturing company, we talk about things such as safety equipment, if they are needing steel-toed boots, hard hats, safety glasses, what is provided, what's not provided. So we give a very well-rounded understanding to our associate when we talk about the job and what the expectations are and the details.
One of the things I love about what you're saying is the idea of something I talk about in my other life. I've been in marketing. I'm still sort of in marketing. And I tell people that marketing is high touch, not high tech, So one of the things that's really cool that you do is that you actually get, and a lot of firms don't do that, but you actually get out to the employer and you want to see it and feel and see what it looks like before you send out somebody for a job.
Correct.
Yeah.
So our recruiters do that to help us better explain the job. It's really difficult to explain a job if you've never seen it or touched it. I'll give you an instance for me. I had no idea what a CNC machinist is. Most of us would not unless we are specifically set for that goal. So in order for me to explain what a CNC machinist was going to be doing, or the feel or the lights or the smells that were going to be involved, we have to do it and see it and smell it and touch it ourselves in order for us to be successful. A lot of people don't realize this and don't think about it as an actual employer, but you can only get so far on a resume, right? You can only see skill sets. But what if I told you that I had a fantastic candidate, but they have asthma? And if we put them in a CNC machinist position that doesn't have, windows right next to them, or that we're setting that employer up for potential failure, and that employee up for failure potentially, because we're not acknowledging that. So another great example is someone who's sensitive eyes, right? So a lot of manufacturing, you have some sort of dust or debris, and if there's not safety equipment available, or if we don't know that, then we can't adequately explain the situation and share with the employee, hey, you need to be aware of this. We want to make sure that you're safe. We want to make sure that you're taken care of.
Well, again, that's the advantage, I guess, of the recruiter going out
Yes.
to the employment, so they see what the person is going to be doing, which is kind of unusual because I've worked with other employment agencies. Most of it's just done over the phone, or done. They just get a piece of paper. It doesn't tell the whole story. The talk about also the process and from the employer hiring. Is this ever, so it's mostly full-time jobs you're helping people get, right? Both in,
Most of the time, for employers, it's a little bit different. So employers, we do predominantly, most of our work is 40-hour work weeks. But let's say they have maybe a project that's only going to take 3 weeks, but they need it because they need numbers and they need a good accountant. They need a good data entry, someone who's fast, so that they can get these reports done by their deadline. Maybe they need someone that, unfortunately, there was a family medical leave that they needed. And so we provide that assistance to them and that support. But traditionally, we are more of a 40-hour a week or a part-time. For instance, maybe a church office needs someone that is a part-time steady worker for a long, for permanent, right? But they only are needed part-time, maybe 3 days a week. We can assist with that.
what about the trend of some people, and I think it's less than it was a couple of years ago, but that don't want to work full time anymore, in terms of employees. And do you even,
Mhm.
let's talk about both things, not wanting to work full time and then not wanting to go into an office. Do some people
Mhm.
still tell you that they want full-time work,
Ooh.
but they don't want to commute? Do you have that?
Oh, yeah. So, part of what we are seeing job seekers say is, yes, I would love a flexible schedule. I need higher pay. They have very specific requirements. I only need, the flexible schedule comes in because I'm a single parent and I need these particular hours so I can pick up my child that's on the other side of town. And so yes, absolutely. We have to make accommodations and kind of see um, what the market holds. Mm, Very much now, clients are telling us, or business owners are telling us, we want our people back in the office. We want them here. Now, a lot of them have become more hybrid roles to where they have to be in the office maybe 3 or 4 days a week, but maybe one of those days they can work from home. So we are seeing trends kind of vary. There are some companies, it's just like everywhere else, there are some companies that offer hybrid or offer remote, and there are some companies who want people in office. But from what we are seeing in the Asheville market, they are wanting people in office available so that work can be done with a community or with team members.
This discussion reminds me of when I worked for my dad. Now, my dad said that many years ago, I was a kid, he said he can have flexible hours. He told me I could come in anytime I want before 9 o'clock and work anytime after 5 o'clock. I could set my own hours. So if I want to work a 60 or 70 hour week, I could work for my dad. But that's not what I had in mind, but that's what he had in mind. But anyways,
Mhm.
I guess back to meeting the needs of the employer. And what you
Mhm.
said was kind of interesting that, and I've been reading about it, you see it every day, but the shift, so when COVID hit, everybody was working at home and they love working at home. And all of a sudden, to have to come back to full time in office, they don't like it as much. Yet, being realistic, I do see the value of being in an office.
Mhm.
It's great to have flexibility, but you miss a lot, don't you, when you're
Mhm.
working at home all the time?
Yes, yes. So one of the top things that we hear employers say to us is they are seeking good people who will show up, not jump ship for another company with higher pay, and have the capacity to have meaningful conversations with each other. The communication is a big piece that we are missing out of on today's current candidate market. So like we had talked about before, those soft people skills, just being able to have a conversation or be able to express one's ideas. That's a huge impact. So right now with the showing up and not jumping ship for another company with higher pay, we've had many conversations with employers about the challenges of that. Because like you said, a lot of job seekers are looking for that either that flexibility in the schedule for picking up children or commute times. And so that is what we are seeing on our end. That's a huge change, a huge shift.
You made a good point there about the somebody coming on board. How long do you tell a job seeker initially that they should stay with the company? Is there it used to be
Mm.
way before your time, but when I was a kid, it was like lifelong, and it's at Canton, unfortunately,
Yeah.
it was lifelong employment, be with the company. Now, what's the expectation that I guess employers have, and also employees should have, as to how long they should give that first job?
Mm. That is a fantastic question, and it is one that has been up for debate for many times.
Right.
We have to consult our employers a lot on this question. 3 years is what we
Oh,
are seeing is the average. Of course, there's more. There's 5. Some people are as there long as 8 or 10 years. But what we are seeing with these local companies is that there is a huge shift when it comes to people trying, and again, COVID helped with this, COVID, like showing, oh, in order for me to get a higher paying job, I just need to apply to these other companies. I need to find this. And with the Asheville market, with housing going up and the economy itself changing, we are having to talk to employers about being different and keeping up with the times when it comes to, okay, being flexible. Can you be flexible with your schedule? Can you offer that as a benefit of flexible scheduling? Can you offer not only pay, but full benefits? Can you offer partial benefits? Are you able to do a stipend for childcare? Do you offer childcare? Do you have a relationship with a childcare facility that your employees can use? Because we are seeing a lot more candidates or job seekers who are single parents, and who are needing that flexibility in order to provide for their household.
Do employers come to you for that advice as well in terms of what they should
Absolutely.
offer? Yeah.
Absolutely. So we do a lot of market research, especially when we realize that maybe one or two companies are having challenges getting the right candidates. We come back to them and say, I am, happy that we are being able to work together. This is what we are seeing. We have been recruiting for you for X amount of days. This is what we are seeing. These are the candidates that actually meet your job skills and requirements, and this is what their pay requirement is. So then we come in and we say, okay, there are three other businesses that are looking for your particular job. Let's say welder again. Let's say they are looking for a welder, this particular pay range, this particular experience, but these job seekers are actually asking for more. How can you accommodate that? Can you show that benefits are equivalent to this? Are you a full healthcare employee? So we talk a lot about that.
You raise a good point there too. Is the point is I sometimes say like theoretically everything is negotiable. So if you want to keep, as you said, a certain pay rate, that might be doable. But then what are these other factors? So you could pay less, but giving the other benefits, or in some cases even the flexibility, if that's
Mhm.
important to the mother or the father, um, we'll give you that or vacations or whatever.
Correct.
Um, what do you see in terms of the future? um, for people looking for jobs? So let's take them both extremes. So the job market has certainly changed, but good if you're looking for a job now, good or bad time to be looking for a job.
Mm. Looking for a job is never easy. let's, just,
Yeah.
let's just say that. Looking for a job is never easy. Um, I It's not like the housing market where you
Right.
can say it's a buyer's market or it's a seller's market. It's really not. Um, the biggest thing right now is talent and making yourself available. Let's just say, if I were to talk to a job seeker right now and say, all right, you are looking to make a change, you need to take the time to really dig deep and find out what it is you truly want. Because as a matchmaker, my team as matchmakers cannot help you unless you take first the time to look at yourself and just take that time to say, what is it that I want? What is it that I absolutely have to have when it comes to pay? Where is my wiggle room? Where am I able to compromise on? And then we can have a meaningful conversation and a more successful interview with you and able to match you better because you've first taken the time on yourself. You've invested in that time for yourself.
Do firms such as yourself still give I don't know, aptitude tests or tests?
Oh, what a great
No, I remember
question.
because years ago that was big, or people would do that, and in school you took them. But do they still do that?
Absolutely. So, depending on your actual skill, we have a couple of different areas that we staff for. So, for instance, office services, manufacturing, skilled trades. Each one of those areas kind of has a subcategory. But if you are in office services, we are going to have certain assessments for you, depending on if you are a higher level executive or if you are working maybe in an office setting, to where you're doing filing, answering phones, basic office administration, data entry, anything like that. We are going to offer you basically an office services skills assessment. They're called assessments now. And so with Indeed, most people who are doing resumes right now have some sort of skills assessment that they are taking to prove the skills that they are putting on paper. That's the other piece, is that we have to prove it. So with light manufacturing, we're going to make sure that you know your basic measurements. We're going to make sure that you understand a ruler. We're going to make sure that you have basic manufacturing or warehouse safety as well. If you are more of a skilled trades person, for instance, someone who knows how to drive a forklift or a cherry picker, we actually have a skills assessment to make sure that um, you are being tested on those skills or items that you would know, the knowledge that you would know if you were certified on a forklift.
I doubt they still have it, but years ago, it was the CUDA occupational preference test. I don't know if it's still out there, but do you have people come in? I imagine, especially high school graduates or whatnot, have no idea what they want to do, And do you have anything that helps them make
Mm,
that determination?
yes, so Express National has done an extremely good job of this. So we do what we call job readiness.
Okay,
So
right.
a job readiness is similar to these assessments, but what we do is we pair them with videos. So through Express, they have a program called Express Learn or Express University. And so when we find an individual that maybe needs a little help in certain areas, maybe they really are good with people, but they've never had the phone training, how your voice needs to be, what it means to be in a call center. We have different videos that can assist with that. We have assessments that actually test them on the knowledge that they have done. A lot of times we will offer typing tests to help with speed and accuracy, to help make sure that if we are putting someone in a data entry, they're not, their skill level is matched to what the client actually needs. So,
And you mentioned typing. I'm smiling that
mhm.
that was a basic skill I learned and took in school, but unfortunately they don't teach it anymore. You have to,
Correct.
I
They
guess you have to
don't.
learn it on your own. That's not the same thing too. Aimee, closing the session, let me just have you repeat, if you would, the
Sure.
website and the phone number to get in touch with you folks.
Absolutely. So, in order to get in touch with us, the website is www.expresspros.com. The phone number is area code 828-654-8101. And you are more than welcome, like I said, to say hey to us at the next chamber event. I did want to share one other piece.
Please.
A lot of people come to us and say, "Why Express?" And I do love this question because we have been because we've been in the area for 10 plus years and making all of these community connections. We really have taken the time to be different by living our values, offering our service that is not only catered to just the business, but it's personal to the individuals seeking employment. As a community relations advisor, that's my passion. I am constantly engaging with our employers and our associates about the jobs and the opportunities for them both. And so I get this unique opportunity to share that with our world and with our lovely team members. And that is truly what our team is all about, is looking for ways that we can help the local community because we've been there before.
And what I love speaking to you about this whole subject is I just love your enthusiasm.
Thank
It just
you.
bubbles over. That the smile and the fact that you speak so well of what you do, and you seem to, which is great. You seem to enjoy it.
I do. As you can tell, it gives me joy.
Okay, that's key. Amy, I'd like to thank you for being my guest on this webcast. I'd also like to thank my producer, Cappy Torsetti, and hopefully we'll bump into each other sometime in the near, not too distant future.
I
Thanks.
sure hope so, Blaine.
Great. Thank you.